I didn't think I would ever break 3000 on Cinebench R20. I have never seen a score like that from any Mac Mini. How did I do it? And what can we learn? I'll tell you right after this. Welcome back to the series. In part 2, I described my Mini Mac Pro, and in this part, called Part 2 OC, where the OC stands not for overclock, but for overcool. Now, I have been using the Mini Mac Pro based on the i7 Mac Mini, which I covered in my last video, link above and also below in the description. And while it runs very well, it tends to run very hot. It runs hot to the point where I know it must be limiting the performance, which is why in any longer term rendering programs, like in Cinebench, the first run is always the highest score and the subsequent runs continue to be lower. I wanted to know, no, check that. I needed to know just how much faster could the Mac Mini get if it wasn't thermally constrained. So after a couple of days of this weighing on me, I looked outside this morning and was inspired. Inspired by the wonderful temperatures that Mother Nature has chosen to adorn us with this week. So I decided to take advantage of the opportunity. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's running now. You can hear it cooling off now. If we fed it some cool air, what do we do next? Well, let's think about this for a moment and we'll be right back. Nothing seemed to make sense. Running in colder air didn't help. Standing the Mini up on its side didn't help. Running the internal fan at max speed didn't help. Removing the plastic cover didn't help. And putting fans on either side of it didn't help. I was ready to give up. Then I remembered, in my last video, removing the metal shield wasn't too difficult. I would risk having snowflakes sucked into it, but hey, why not? Let's look at the Cinebench R20 run indoors, and I'll speed this up, and keep your eye on the frequency. At first it will turbo over 4 GHz, but then it throttles back to a speed to about 3.6, and as the temps climb back close to 100C, it then dips to 3.5 GHz, and then as the temps rise again, it drops to 3.4 GHz. Finally, near the end, you see it toggle back and forth between 3.3 and 3.4 GHz. If we look at the outdoor run in the cold, the frequency initially turbos over 4 GHz, but then drops down to 3.7 GHz, and then late in the run it will toggle between 3.6 and 3.7 GHz. That's a 300 MHz difference and explains the higher scores outdoors. Likewise, if we look at the Cinebench R15 run indoors, again I'll speed this up, you can see that the frequency settles down to 3.5 GHz. In contrast, the Cinebench R15 run outdoors sees the frequency settling down to between 3.7 and 3.8 GHz. Again, a significant difference. So how does this compare to the benchmarks we saw in part 2? In Cinebench R20, the score improved from 2771 to 3129, providing a nice 12.9% improvement. Likewise, in Cinebench R15, the score went from 1143 to 1292, which is a similar 13% increase. Does it catch the base model 8-core Mac Pro? Indoors, the Cinebench R15 and R20 scores were 70 and 76% those of the base model Mac Pro. Outdoors, the scores are now 79 and 85% those of the Mac Pro. So running the 6 cores faster are still not able to overcome the 2-core deficit. I suspect you would need to run the i7 at about 4.5 GHz to match the Mac Pro. While it didn't catch the Mac Pro, I am really pleased with the results and the highest Cinebench scores in either R15 or R20 I have seen in any Mac Mini. I really like the i7 processor. It has really impressive turbo boost clock speeds that makes using applications such as Final Cut Pro extremely responsive. You too could unlock this kind of power within the Mac Mini, if you live in an igloo. Like it if you learned something today, share it with someone you know, it really helps the channel, and subscribe and hit the little bell notifications so you'll know when the next video comes out. In part 3, I'll look at the classic Mac Pro and perform some upgrades to find out how the only other fully upgradable Mac performs in 2020. How does it compare to my Mini Mac Pro, and is it still worth it? Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.